Hi there. Welcome to my channel on this beautiful corner of the internet. Welcome. I go by 8th House Sun, and it is my intent with this series of videos about spirituality that I can hopefully bring explanations to you for your spiritual journey that help you to make sense about the beginning steps of your journey and not feel like you are so alone in your understanding of your self-development. Thank you for choosing me to help be a guide for you in your journey. So, spirituality, what exactly is it? Now, one of the first most important things that I really want to share is that spirituality is not a one-size-fits-all definition, nor is it a one-size-fits-all path or destination. Spirituality cannot be a one-size-fits-all definition because to be spiritual, it is also an individualized practice of being able to restore yourself back to self. Spirituality and being on a spiritual journey, it's about you. It's about becoming your spirit self, your soul self, returning yourself back to that essence that you can sense is within you that perhaps has gotten lost or you've just not tuned into it before. And that is another thing that really came to my mind of perception when, in the making of this video, I decided to look up Google's definition of what spirituality is, which I am going to share with you. Okay, so right here I wrote down that Google's definition of spirituality is the quality of being concerned with the human spirit or soul as opposed to material or physical things. Then I also decided to Google spirit. And what spirit means is the non-physical part of the person, which is the seat of emotions and character, and put in quotes, the soul. Now, this is so important because what it showed to me was how much our society has really put so much importance on the physicality of the material world that society as a whole has forgotten that it is mind, body, and spirit that contributes to our overall sense of wellness, right? So majority of humanity has been living in just the perception of the material world and completely cut off from their spirit self. And the natural ways of living and being here in our human forms, we're not supposed to be cut off from our source of being in our spirit self. It is a part of our triad of wellness. Spirituality is a return back to self, of who you truly are on a soul level. It is not a look, it is not an aesthetic, it is not any one single path. And that is also the beauty of spiritual development of self and how you might develop a spiritual practice. It could be through self-development, through a self-love journey. It could be through self-healing. It could be through opening up to your intuitive gifts. It could also be through meditation. It could be through energy work. It could be through religion. It can be through astrology and maybe learning about your birth chart. As long as your practices are helping you return back to yourself, of who you truly are on a soul essence level, you are in a conscious version of a spiritual journey, which is my next point that I would like to share is how the paradox is that by being human and being here incarnated in a human form, we are automatically on a spiritual journey by default. Now, what makes it a spiritual journey, how we would normally call it that, it's really just us choosing to have a conscious spiritual awareness experience and our perception of our lives and having that free will choice to decide to view your life like that, to start to live your life differently in a different perception and a different lens than how society has started to kind of shift away from these practices that was natural to many civilizations and people that came before us in different time periods. Truly, we are all on the same path back to the creator, back to source, back to the one, however you identify with the creator or the source or the one. There's so many different terms: divine, spirit, God, the cosmos, universe. As long as you are tuning into the energy of the creator in the ways that you feel is right for your soul, you're not doing your spirituality wrong. It's about our return back to oneness, to wholeness. The beauty of being human is that being on a conscious spiritual journey is a free will choice. And it is also being mindful of everybody's experiences, whether they are consciously aware of being on a spiritual path or not. The more of us that start to return back to these ways of living in a more conscious manner, the more that starts to invite other people to their own understanding of what their experience with spirituality is and their spirit selves. That's why it's so important to come together and share experiences and to share about spirituality, because all of us have something to share. All of us have something to bring to the table when it comes to being on a spiritual journey, and we get to learn from everybody. And it is not about knowing all the answers, it is about being. It is about being in a state of being and living a life that makes you feel like you are showing up more in your fullest self, your highest self, and allowing yourself to really live the best quality of life that you can, regardless of what external circumstances are. External circumstances do matter, yes, absolutely. But when we get to decide to take into account our spirit selves and adapt a spiritual practice or be a spiritual person, we are starting to embody ourselves and bring a different perception and awareness to the world that helps us move forward in our physical life circumstances in ways that feels more whole, more complete for us. And it's not about perfection. This is not about changing ourselves or growing to a level of perfection, but it is just about developing and continuing to show up exactly the best ways that we can at any given moment of our life. To be a spiritual person means that you are dedicated to your path of incorporating your spirit self into your everyday reality. And this is an act of reclaiming. It is an act of reclaiming this natural part of ourselves that unfortunately gets normalized by society as abnormal. And that's never truly really been the case. And so a spiritual person is choosing to honor and also see the magic in life and the unseen world with spirit, with God, the divine, their higher self, their soul self, their intuitive gifts, and they're making the conscious decision to show up in the world exactly as that, and holding that belief that there is more to life than what we see in the material world. And so many of us, especially at a young age, can say that we've had experiences like that, where we've experienced the unseen world in ways that maybe perhaps was considered odd or weird or abnormal, and we shut down that part of ourselves that's actually our spirit self. And so as also we develop and we grow as adults, it's our act of reclaiming also parts of ourself and our spirit that have gotten locked away due to those misconceptions, when really we were just showing up in our natural selves, our natural ways of being. And that is incorporating our spirit, our soul self into our body and our mind triad of being. We don't need anything outside of ourselves in order to be spiritual. Now, that is not to say that things like crystals and tarot cards are not spiritual or not good for your path. They are all tools, they are all modalities that allow us to move our spirit, to move our gifts, and move our energies through us, through an external world version of a material item. But the energetic embodiment of true spirituality is knowing that your answers are in here. They're with your soul, with your spirit, with yourself. And it is a process of achieving that and getting there. And there's no final destination. We are always in evolution of returning back to our spirit selves and what it means to be in wholeness and completion. And also being mindful and gentle and patient with ourselves that this is a journey. There is not one set path, not one destination, and not one way. But that's also the true beauty of it, is that everybody is unique and everybody has different natural attunements and abilities with returning to what their version of spirituality is and incorporating that into their everyday lives. Thank you so much for being here and tuning in with me. If you have found this explanation and this video share helpful for you on your journey, please leave a like on this video as a way to let me know. I would be so deeply honored. And also, if you would love to share any resonances and experiences in the comments, I would love to hear from you. And this video will be the first of many in a playlist that will be released for spiritual beginners. So if you feel aligned to walk this path of life, of your spiritual journey with me as your guide here, I would love if you subscribe to my channel so that we can continue sharing this space and connecting on this path together. And as always, thank you so much for sharing this space with me, and I will see you next time. Bye.